Hi Annabelle, it's Russell here. Looking at your camp quality submission, I'm going to offer some feedback, give you some tips and tricks and whatnot, hopefully. Having a quick look at it, I think I really like this ribbon device you've got going on. Like in this particular case, I love the way this one comes over into this page. That's really cool, the way it breaks the spread so it doesn't feel like, it feels like a complete spread. That's always good. I really think what you've got going on here is fantastic. The cutout images, the collage here, I like these little boxes. Let's have a quick look at some interesting point sizes. What have we got there? 8 point, ouch. I would rarely ever use less than 10 point on something like this, simply for legibility. I know it's probably quite difficult because of volume of copy that we've asked to include. I guess that's the challenge, but try to think about that when you do it. Another thing I quickly noticed just then is I don't like the way you've centered this over the bullet, so I would probably get rid of that and left align everything. Centering a headline and then following with left align bullets is always difficult. And once again, you just quickly centered it then with, how can I select that? Oh, that's why. You just centered it with spaces or tabs. Make sure in future you just use the text centering, e.g. go up here and just center it, or in a quick way, Command-Shift-C for center, and Command-Shift-L for left, for right, etc. I would, never center those kind of things and then left align bullets. They just don't work very well. Excuse me a second. Okay. Another thing I've noticed quickly is that this is all built in InDesign, but it is all intense line work. I'm trying to think of a quick way. A better way to work with that would be obviously to build it in Illustrator wherever possible. InDesign is good for these things, but it's just then it's this kind of detail through here that's causing huge file sizes. And chugginess, it's slow. Quick way to do it would be like, say you had all of this, let's say, where are your layers? Or, see, that's another thing, maybe work in layers so you can lock things down. Here we go, layers, what's this? So that's all in one, whereas if I did that, you've grouped it, I think. Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. You could do it in Illustrator, you could do it in Photoshop, and a great way to do it would be just to, like, say you worked out where your text is here, for example, then you do a screenshot of the spread like that, open that in Photoshop, and then work around it, and then bring the Photoshop file back in, turning off that screenshot, obviously. Another thing could be, you got straight vertical copy here, then angled copy here. I think that's not working as cleanly as it possibly could. Same with these lines. See, you've got these big structured lines. I find there's a lot of structure in those, but whereas with this one, there's less structure because you're following the path around them. There's a good opportunity here where you might as well have you've got that picture there. Let's say, for example, I'll get rid of all that, bring these guys back, flip that, send it to the back. See what I mean? That's kind of dynamic already, and you didn't have to go through the pain of tracing around them, but you've repeated this pattern here, the way it's come angled in, then it becomes a nice formula. And then you could also, as you need to do a call out, say you're doing a call out on something, you could put something over on this side like that, and put a pull quote in there or something like that if you needed to. Let's see what we can do with this text, because I think the angles of the ribbons are great, and then the text, which needs to be legible, maybe should just be straight. So let's go have a look. That's at 10 degrees. Let's make it 0. Let's do that. Let's bring our guides back in. I love all your guides. That's a great thing. What have we got here? Gotham rounded bold. Let's just make all that book for now. Some weird stuff there. Okay. I'm having font issues on my computer. Gotham rounded book. A couple of things with text. So currently you're running this at 10 point with 12 point leading. Think about spacing there. So maybe this should be, if you're going to run 10 point text, I would say your leading should never be, ooh, that's doing weird things. Why is that doing that? There is definitely something odd happening with your text boxes, because then that shouldn't be jumping like that. Let's see what we can do about that. Bring your character palette in. A quick way to fix these kind of things usually is resetting it. Which I can never remember how to do. It's a transform thing, so let's clear those transformations and see what it does. That's not supposed to do that, and I don't know why it's doing it. Let's see if it's a font issue. It's not a font issue. There it is. It was that there, keeping it baselined. So if we go back to Gotham, I don't mind it as a font to use as body copy, which is good. Gotham rounded book. So at 10 point text, this has got 15 point leading. It's kind of where I would sit for something that's nice and clear to read. Let's get some of those guides. 15 we thought. And that way we can get in more paragraph breaks and stuff. So with text like these, you're allowed to go in and read it, see where you might want to set a better paragraph if need be. You can process the text. Just going to move this for now, just to play with the text. The power of play and knowledge helps do with cantrip. Okay. I wouldn't use this text so much. In the headlines it's fine, but maybe in these cases there's another way of doing it. Too much of this text is too fun, kind of thing. So let's make that Gotham. And then if you're going to do something with this text, like Lucy's story, it's the headline, obviously, so don't be shy with doing something dramatic with it. See, my InDesign right now is running a bit slow, and that's probably because all of this is built in InDesign. Really playing up. Nice clipping though. Details are good. Can we do anything with this? I'm not a huge fan of drop shadows. If you're going to use them delicately, I think. has this sliced up? I'm not sure. I think it's doing some interesting things and I'm not sure how you've created it. I just take that, paste it, that's all I want. So with handwritten text sometimes can be too fun, handwritten fonts, but this one is quite structured. There are fun ways you can play with it though. This is just a little tip. You can take something like this, duplicate it a few times, so let's just, and then repeat each line. Oops. Come on. There we go. So we got that. It's doing very funny things with padding. I don't know why. Copy that. So this is just a fun aside. You can then stagger it a bit more and play with it as though it is handwritten. It's like someone actually wrote it on the page. But then to add even more level to it, you rotate the lines a little bit. That's too much. As though someone's actually written it with their own hands. And it just gives the text a little bit more feeling, I guess. With this, it is very weird. It's doing some odd padding issues in the boxes. I'm just going to outline it for my own sake. And then you've got a pull quote that's kind of interesting. If we want, we can, turn it into something that matches your shapes. Give it some fun. And then now we've got this weird shape through the middle. If we wanted to really have fun with it, we could do this. It's kind of alright. I wouldn't say it's great. It might be more interesting to create our own custom box. Mistakes along the way are part of the fun. Now we can bring in some of those other pictures again. And because we've got all these other shapes, you can start then bringing in the shape detail, like, okay, so if these guys are going to sit here, we can get this text to roll around them a bit better. Using soft returns, which is a shift return. And then you can start bringing in some of your other textures, or I'm not sure I love that text box anymore. Maybe it's drawing too much attention. Maybe it needs to be a solid shape. Obviously this is not for you to just, this is just ideas that I'm having. You can bring back in this shadow, for example, and apply it to the text box. You can lose the stroke on it. And then we can bring in, see, you've got these textures, so maybe you're bringing those in some way. A quick way to do that would be, and maybe you've done that, is to make that texture a full page image, say a vector image, and then create picture boxes, and then using those picture boxes, you just place the image inside, and that's maybe what you've already done, but it's just not working for some reason on my thing. And then in the end you get a picture just sitting inside a picture box that is your texture. Maybe in some version of me opening up this this page, it's kind of screwed it all up a bit. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know, so when I see this, I see depth, because these are all forward. I see a clear line of traveling going through it. The big flat shapes are good. Maybe we need some more texture now, so maybe that's where you start bringing in that texture. And then, because then you've got these outline elements, maybe that's the text. That's pretty cool. Why don't we do that? Now, that's a feature in itself. I like the dotted line, the way it works. And then, see, dotted lines, you've got those dotted lines. You could turn them into a feature in themselves, like this. Lose their fill and just really play with dotted lines. So punch up the stroke like that. Maybe round cap them to match all your other things. Sort of talks of journeys and things like that. And you can start using that to bring in texture and guide the eye through the page. That's just one spread example. With this one, as I said, I think now that's between the two of them, if you brought the dotted line in here, this would work similar to this. We've got clear text. I think it needs to be typeset better. Where's my thing there? It doesn't really want to go into this box for some reason. Treatments, procedures, and then you can start highlighting text. Lucy's so wise now, but she knows everything. Whether that's bold, for example, like you had all these kind of things highlighted. Definitely do all that. Get in there and tweak the text. Use paragraph spaces, obviously, so like that, and go up here and actually use space after a bit more. It's a nice, neat way to do things. And never, obviously, I'm being rushed. I'm using orphans everywhere. Look at that. That's not good to me through there. We could probably cut that there. Etc., etc. But then it's starting to come together a fair bit. It's a very big, bold spread now, and I think it matches this. And then what you've done here, the way this is predominantly color, well, this is predominant color, and this bottom one is predominantly, well, 50-50, so half white, half color. I like that. You need white in these things in order to create moments of rest. What would we do with these headlines, for example? So knowing full well that this text here was doing, it's all gridded, which I have no problem with, but I don't love it. It makes it too hard to do magazine spreads. Just going to remove all the formatting on it. And see what we can do for space. So we can just assume that this page is going to be text heavy. So you've got Lucy's story here. Let's go our goals. This is almost like a H2 then. Wow, my computer's doing weird things today. The fast keys are just not working. Let's just pick a color for now. Oops, what have we done here? Let's get our shadow that we're using. Let's get this secondary font here. and we need to somehow find the space. Maybe in this case it is going to have to go like this. Even with these, I mean, you could create those kind of text boxes again, left a line along there and one along there kind of thing, see how it sits. Creating more shapes with these and trying to get these point sizes up. I like this page. I just think maybe you then just need to finish it, so that's good. As for the cover, I like the cover. I think everything about the cover is great. I would maybe think of getting, first of all, brightening it. So I think, let's have a quick look at this. I'm just going to go back to opening it. I noticed that the color's a bit flat, so it's just shot on a sad day. Maybe it's my monitor, I don't know. It's just not a lot of love in there. And then maybe that these shapes, the way it goes, this one's behind everything. Maybe this one comes in front to create more of a more depth in the cover. Let's go with here. So if I go back here, grab one of your shapes, say this one, bring it to Photoshop. For example, we want it yellow. Smart object. Oops. Rasterize that layer. I've got yellow now. Maybe it mirrors down here, or you know, this is all. For example, maybe there's also a touch of the green in there or something. It's just. And the pattern or whatever, maybe it wraps behind her hand so it goes between the bars. A mask. This is very rough. But yeah, so I like the way you've created depth. Now you just need to come forward one more level. And then from there, close that, go back here. Update. Now we can start really getting this text to punch. So maybe this text just needs to be bigger too. So power of, let's break it down to 3. What is with that? Didn't mean to do that. Soft drop shadow. Positivity is a big word, so there's not much we can do there. And then you can start bringing in your other textures, whether you use the dotted line or whether it's that's quite cool. Camp quality, that's a bit lost down here, so maybe in some way you'd want to bring a shape into that, or reverse it all out of white, for example, like that, or but yeah, probably bringing a shape in. Obviously this is too much stuff going on at the moment. We just need to consider those things. You want this to punch, and then the image to sit nicely in there. But that's kind of it. I think this is coming along really well, and I think you've got a really good idea with these big shapes, and I like the way that they're traveling across the pages. I think that's everything for now. Thanks.